2 million followers. Okay, so she is, wait, she has a baby? Why didn't they go? Wait, let's do the timeline here. Okay, I'm a newbie. I've never done CrossFit before. I paid this money. I saw this Tia Toomey. She just had that? Yo, Fittest on Earth Retroactive. If you haven't seen it, don't watch this video yet. Go watch it, then come back. I would like for you to formulate your own thoughts and opinions before you hear anything that I have to say, whether it be in favor of what you think or opposing what you think. But that will drive great conversation in the comments section. Spoiler alert, I'm going to use the Fast and the Furious franchise to now compare and contrast what is going wrong or going well with the CrossFit documentaries. Here we go. Fast and the Furious #1 is exactly the same as Every Second Counts. Every Second Counts is a 2009 documentary where they're just kind of rolling around in the mud at the ranch. They're having a freaking backyard throwdown, and that's what Fast and the Furious 1 is.
Mia!
I eat somewhere in the vicinity of 5,000 calories a day.
Wait, hold on.
You got this dude, bald dude. You got this other dude, blonde dude, surfer guy, and he's eating a sandwich, and some guy comes and yells at him.
No one likes a tuna here. Yeah, well, I do.
Watch your back! They start fighting, and the bald guy rips him off.
You embarrass me!
The next thing you know, they're hijacking trucks. And then the next thing you know is they're racing, and everyone thinks it's one of the best movies ever. I don't know if that's true, but I really like it. And it spawned a 10-movie franchise. I just watched the 10th one, and I'll tell you what happens. Every single movie is there's just a little bit more.
No. Well, that was new.
And then there's a new character, and then there's a new character, and that's the only way you keep it going for that long. The movies, by the way, you can also tell more expensive, because more people go to watch them. This movie made 10 million, this movie made 30 million, this movie made 50 million. 2009, Every Second Counts comes out.
Have fun.
And in a way, that's Fast and the Furious 1. Another movie comes out, 2015 or 2016. That one does pretty well too. Fast and the Furious 2 or 3. And then there's The Fittest in Dubai. And then there's the 17, 18 documentary. And then somewhere thrown in there, you've got the Froning documentary. And then you've got Resurgence. And then you've got Next Gen last year, which we talked about. And the biggest thing about last year was that my qualm with it was that it was exactly the same. It would be almost like there was a new bald dude and a new surfer dude in a shop, and then they race at the end of the movie and they go, okay, there was something about the characters there where we were really bought into them as people, and we don't want new characters doing the same stuff. We need these characters developing, maybe bring in someone else. And this year, thank God for Roman Krennikov. Maybe Roman Krennikov is the John Cena, who I really like as well. John Cena is great, or maybe he's The Rock, or maybe he's Jason Statham, because that dude made this documentary.
Ну, было очень сложно.
By all means, if I go to Rotten Tomatoes and I see anything over a 10 in the fan section, I'd be like, guys, what were you watching? What did I miss? Every bit of that 10 is due to Roman Krennikov and his charisma, his presence, his humor. The entire thing about him made that movie. Roman Krennikov deserves an entire documentary to himself. Maybe a 40-minute YouTube movie.
So simple.
Baby's there with the headphones on and goes, we did this. That's cool too. I really like that they threw that in. Using the word we, because it's like him, his family, a translator, it's all good. High five to Roman Krennikov. Good job, Mariah, putting in Roman Krennikov and all that stuff. Bad job leaving out a lot of Medeiros. Last year's CrossFit Games champion. I mean, if you are going to ride Tia Toomey the way that you will,
But y'all don't say that.
shut up. Well, you gotta also put a little bit of Medeiros in there. He's featured, but he wouldn't be featured the same way the defending and maybe favorite person to win this year on the male side would be. Maybe that's because Roman was such a great character and you wanted more Roman. I look at things in terms of percentage. This movie was 20 to 30% Tia and maybe 5 to 10% Justin, which oddly enough, I also think was 5 to 10% Fraser. And there's this guy who won years ago who he's just coaching another female, Mel O'Brien, who's featured about the same 5 to 10% Mel, 5 to 10% Matt, who is also kind of weirdly coaching Justin Medeiros as well. But I thought it was weird that he's just in there as much as he is. And if you could have taken Matt and just chucked him to the side and brought in another athlete like a Jason Hopper, who finished rather well at the CrossFit Games, who is another Fraser athlete, but I thought that it was weird that through a lot of the movie there was very little Medeiros, and then at the end he wins and you got a little Bosman like, nice job, 2 years in a row.
Reigning, defending, fittest man on earth. Justin Medeiros.
Tia time! And the whole thing should have been Tia time. It was the 2022 retroactive Fittest on Earth, but it should have been the 2022 Tia documentary, Toomey on Earth, the retro Clara Toomey. I don't know. And everyone's probably hearing this as Hitler made a natty not on Tia, Hitler hates Tia, blah, blah, blah.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Exactly the opposite. It should have been only Tia, 100% Tia. This is the Froning equivalent of Tia. Hear me out. Froning, you follow him in the open.
In sports, legends appear once in a generation.
Is that what you think? You think?
You follow him in the regionals, you go to the games. In and around that, it's family life, it's his upbringing, it's why is he the way he is, it's how is he doing before and after the events, kind of behind the scenes-esque. That is all you need. Each character, we don't know anything about him. We know Ricky got busted 4 years ago. That's cool. Ricky also was pretty well featured in that. I like Ricky in the movie, but really, what else do we know about him other than he took drugs and he finished well this year? He worked as a mill worker, which is something that's worth noting, but how about showing that? That would have been nuts. It would have been really tough and really expensive, but that's what happens when you've got a 10-year franchise like the Fast and the Furious. You've got $1 billion to throw at it, and the explosions are bigger than ever. You've got Ricky working in the freaking mines. He needs to win the CrossFit Games to get it out of these mines. Oh, that would have been good. Roman is fighting like the Russian freaking, I don't know.
No foreign army has ever occupied American soil.
Watching Red Dawn again, or?
The military to come over to the United States.
And these are their secret commie weapons.
That would have been a good storyline.
I don't know, Blaine. I mean, they seem a little young to be spies, you know?
And legit, Tia Toomey's won 7 years in a row. She's done Olympic crap, bobsled stuff, like anything like that in and around it about the CrossFit Games would have been nuts. Stuff of her training at East Nashville. Stuff of her training in her new gym in Australia. Just like Froning in the barn, Froning with Hobart, Froning as a child. And where's the Matt Fraser documentary? There should have been one of those as well by now. I'm losing my freaking mind. I know I've been talking about the Fast and the Furious franchise, but this would have been like the Han Solo movie in the Star Wars trilogy. Or it could have been like The Mandalorian. Who's the Mandalorian? I don't know. Maybe you make Ricky Garard the Mandalorian and you've got Roman Krennikov as John Cena. What does that make Justin Medeiros? I don't know. I guess
It doesn't matter!
because you barely talked about the two-time champion as it is. So that's probably the biggest thing that I thought after having watched this movie, is that there just needs to be a Tia movie. And how is it that after all of these years where we should be gaining momentum, we kind of hit Fast and the Furious 5, and then you just say, you know what? This was pretty good. We're going to do the same thing over again, and then the same thing over again. Vin Diesel, we can't give you any more money because they didn't make any more money, and we didn't want to bring in The Rock, and we didn't want to bring in John Cena. We didn't want to do anything new with the storyline. We didn't want to do any sort of tech weird stuff anywhere. And you know what? Paul Walker, he didn't make it, so we're just gonna forget that he was there. We're not gonna pay homage to him the way that they did in the Fast and the Furious franchise. But there are all these like random things that they do to weave it and keep you incredibly engaged. And what has this done to weave and keep you engaged?
Nothing! You've done nothing!
In the years past, they had the behind the scenes stuff where I guess you could plug and play and watch some of that and maybe share footage amongst CrossFit and say, hey, I got this behind the scene footage, throw it into the documentary. Or maybe there was the Road to the Game stuff where you've got Ben Smith and Matt Fraser getting ready for the 2015 games where it gets upwards of 2-3 million views and say, hey, this is great footage. You could throw this in the documentary when he's training and flipping the pig. But they don't have any of this and they have no plans to have any of that. And I make YouTube videos, but I watch all these movies. I watch all those movies and I try to look at them, and I don't really just watch them for what they are anymore. I watch them for what I can do with this.
I can do those things.
Story is incredibly important. I've really been trying to dig in with the stories in a couple of these last videos. I just want some sort of an arc with a climax and then you're out. And maybe it's like, oh, you didn't see him going this way with this. But I always ask with those stories, who is this made for? Who is the 2022 retroactive documentary made for? Is it made for the athletes? It might be made for the couple that you featured, which is cool. Who's watching? That's the big one. Is it CrossFitters or is it people who have never done CrossFit before? We've got sitting number 7 as the time of when I'm making this on the Apple Store library overall, up there with John Wick number 4, is this documentary. Let's say some new person just, oh, okay, jack people. $14.99, this is what I'm watching tonight. Oh my God, what is going on? What? Bike to work? I don't get it. This dude, Russian dude, and they're just panting and they don't know what's going on. They're freaking out. And then there's this chick and she's so jacked. And why is this so easy for her? Why is there one person who this is way easier for than everyone else? Where now she's basically saying that she doesn't even have to try. She doesn't try on the last event. She's doing this for her? Like, how did she get so far ahead? I know we've gone over every single event, but what is the scoring system? Like, how does she have this many points? And how does she, I don't know. Why is she so sad? I'm gonna go on Instagram. I'm gonna go on Instagram, I'm gonna look up Tia Toomey. 2 million followers. Okay, so she is, she's just a baby? Why didn't they go? Let's do the timeline here. Okay, I'm a newbie, I've never done CrossFit before, I paid this money, I saw this Tia Toomey. She just had that, and she was she pregnant at the games? What? How does nobody know? When is this produced? Okay, and you see what I'm doing here, right? Like these people who have never had exposure have no idea what is going on. And then also, people like me, I know so much from having been so invested in it over the course of the past decade, and in particular, past couple of years, because all I do is look at CrossFit stuff, and I'm watching, I go, yeah, I know. Yeah, I've seen, whatever. Oh, cool, the stuff about Ricky working in the mines, that's new. What else is new? I don't know, nothing. What? It's not made for that new person. It's not made for me, and I'm curious, like, where in the middle you need to fall to just be somebody where you're watching it and you're engaged, appreciative, not just sitting there watching stuff that you've probably seen the athletes say on their Instagrams for the past couple of months. The big props that I gotta give to the documentary are bleeping out the swearing, not releasing it early on YouTube and losing a bunch of money, because remember last year someone ripped the whole thing, put it on YouTube, had 15,000 views, and to the tune of, I don't know, $250,000, they lost money. Also last year they had that early release. You know, you can pre-order it, $14.99. I don't know why anybody would pre-order, because you can also get it the same time as everybody else if you don't pre-order the stupid thing. But then a week before they made it $9.99. So if you pre-ordered it way over there, you lost $5 for no freaking reason. They just screwed the diehards. That was interesting. So they did make some improvements. They took some ideas from the community, but it leaves you wanting. I just watched the Fast and the Furious 10 retroactive, and it's just like I watched the Fast and the Furious 5. I watched them with the same characters, I learned nothing new, and it's the same thing over and over again. I might as well have been watching the Leprechaun series. Leprechaun 10 in the Hood. Andrew Hiller, out.
I come from the land of the Irish Spring.
Please smash that like button.
Do it!
I won't touch
Just do it!
Yesterday,
you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Some people dream of success, while you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. No, what are you waiting for? Do it!